What's going on? Today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why my reef tank is successful, even though I may be doing everything wrong, like having a tang, a mandarin, and way too many overstock corals for how young the corals are. Before I get started in this video, I'm going to notice that, the glass is a little dirty. I didn't clean the outside and the inside. I'm going to have to go in with a nice little razor blade because I waited too long and it is all fake cyano. So let's get into reason number 1 on why my tank is so successful, or in my case, an opinion, very successful. And the number 1 reason is I'm using RO water. So RO water is the key to the saltwater hobby, in my opinion. I think that most people, if not 90% of people who failed the saltwater hobby, tried to use tap water or did not agree with RO water. RO water is simply just water without anything in it. It's got no chemicals, nothing that the tap water might put in, like chloramine or like calcium or anything like that may throw off the water quality. Instead, I rely purely on my water, or on my salt, for my trace elements. Picking a good quality salt is key in getting your trace elements that you want, and you can play around and find different salts that have different amounts of stuff and see how your corals react. I have tried quite a few, and I've picked Fritz Coral Aquatic. I think that Fritz salt is the most bang for your buck salt. It's definitely the most all-around tank salt. You could go for the little purple or orange bags from Petco, but in the end of the day, Fritz salt works perfect in my opinion. Getting on to reason number 2 why my tank is successful, we're gonna go with stocking. Now, this may be controversial, especially considering that not all of my stocking choices are perfect. I do have a tang in this 30-gallon tank, but at the end of the day, everything in this tank does have a purpose except for my lovely clownfish. So I got my mandarin dragonet. Even though he may be too small for this tank, I did have a bit of a flatworm problem, and I have a ton of euphilia. So I'd be destroyed if flatworms took over my tank, killed all of my coral. And after a bit of research, I learned that mandarins are really the only natural hunter for flatworms. You could try and get something like a goby or a wrasse, but at the end of the day, they don't really naturally hunt flatworms, and they're just going to get lazy and eat pellets. So I skipped all those steps and I went straight to the mandarin dragonet. If you're wondering, how is he living? How do I check to make sure he has food? Well, if I turn off the tank for a little bit, towards the surface, you can see all the little copepods going crazy around the surface. So that tells me that he still has food. I also dose phytoplankton maybe once a week, just a capful, just to make sure that those guys are reproducing under the rockwork. Then I of course have my tang. Now I did get my tang for some algae control. Unfortunately, he does not control the algae very much at all. He just, well, if you happen to know, he gave my whole tank ick. And ever since he had ick, he does not really touch the hair algae. But if you may notice, I have 0 hair algae. That is all thanks to my lawnmower Blenny. I am a huge believer in Blennies, especially the lawnmower Blenny, now that I have experienced how much algae they can remove. There has not been a single speck of algae in this tank since I added him, and I used to have an insane amount of hair algae. I used to have a problem with my nutrients. I didn't know how to get it under control. The secret is the hair algae Blenny. That guy will eat until he pops. He will make sure that not a single strand of hair algae shows up in your tank. And it's honestly put him at the top of my list for some of my favorite fish. Getting into the third reason on why my tank is successful, we're going to go with coral stocking. Looking around my tank, you may notice that I only have a very few select SPS. And they're all in the same area, and they are all in the same struggle. I picked a lot of LPS and a lot of euphilia just to give myself a little bit of an easier time with corals. Now, of course, obviously one day I do want to move into the SPS genre. But as of now, I'm currently struggling a little bit, and I think that the LPS genre is treating me amazingly well. I have managed to collect most euphilia corals except for most of the high dollar ones like the orange and the ultras. But with the right coral stocking, especially these soft LPS and mushroom corals and acans and zoas and candy canes and duncans and euphyllia, all that stuff is amazing. Not necessarily beginner coral, but it is coral that is not exceptionally hard to keep. I can have some parameter swings, and these corals will more so let me know than they will die. A good example of that is I recently had a little swing, and you can see that my well, I will throw up the name, but my lovely SPS coral over here has been struggling very hard, whereas my LPS corals, sorry for the water spots, are actually starting to expand and grow. And they also let me know whenever my coral parameters or my water parameters aren't in check. A good example of that would be right now, where if you look at this coral, you can see it's kind of struggling. You can see the little white, it's actually retracting. And then this coral is, it's coming back to life, but you can still see the white skeleton there in the center. All of that tissue needs to go back down the base. We make issues, there are struggles in this hobby, but hey, who's not gonna struggle? And another reason that my tank is successful is, it's a good question. And another reason that my tank is successful is water changes and feeding. So I have a very good schedule on these guys. Every single day I will pour 5 milliliters of Alpha Reef into the tank, and I will feed these guys heavy. I have so many fish in this tank, it doesn't look like there's that many fish at all times, but it is a bit overstocked, and I need to feed heavy in order to have all of those fish get fed. Another thing that helped me out with this is I have all of my rockwork away from the glass. This allows me to scrape the glasswork as I needed. You can tell I don't do it quite as much as I should anymore though. But if you needed some tips to get your reef tank going and you wanted some rules to follow, those are my rules. Get RO water. Run RO water like your life depends on it, because your fish's life and your coral's life will depend on it. Second tip is to do good stocking. Pick stocking that's going to help you out. That's going to get rid of your algae. That's going to get rid of your bristleworms. Do things like that. You don't want to have a tank full of stuff and then you're relying on your little snails and cleanup crew to do all of the hard work. Although they do work hard, it's kind of hard to get them to do all of the work. And number 3, just keep on a proper schedule. Obviously, this hobby is all about keeping your water parameters stable, and it's a lot more simply said than done, but doing it doesn't have to be so complicated as well. For me, it's just a simple 5 minutes a day thing, and if I need to do a water change, it really doesn't take that long anymore. Patience is key with the hobby, especially this one. I wouldn't say I was happy with my tank until about a year in. Although I was happy the whole time, now I am super proud of it. I'm willing to post it everywhere, and I even want to invite people over to see it. Tank's looking good. My tank is successful, I would say. I am hoping, now that I came out with this video, I'm hoping I have certain corals, like this coral, and maybe that coral, and maybe that coral once it heals up, and maybe this coral, and maybe some of these zoas. I want to frag them. I want to frag all these corals. I want to give them away to you wonderful people who click and watch these videos. So if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and follow my Instagram. I will be doing that here soon. Once I start fragging these corals, I'm going to give them away through my Instagram, do a little, maybe a verification for. And if you want to enter for that prematurely, all you need to do is subscribe and follow to my Instagram. Probably in the next couple weeks or so, I will do a giveaway just to try and get some of these corals out to you wonderful people. If this helped you out, this video helped you out, gave you some ideas on what you need to do, some paths on what you might need to go down for your tank, go ahead and leave a comment, a like, and please subscribe. It makes my day. I hope to kind of get back into the YouTube aspect of this hobby and start sharing things with you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.